Good afternoon, guys. Here's another hype video in the lead up to the Buccaneers versus the Patriots. I hope you enjoy it. Just quickly, if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I post a new Tom Brady video every day.
A big challenge for us this week. Obviously facing one of the top teams in the league, if not the top team. So we've know some of the players well, Tom and Rob and guys like that. Certainly Rob and Tom have done a lot for this organization, a lot for me. And I appreciate everything they've done. I have a ton of respect for them. But this Sunday, we're on opposite sides of the field, and we're going to do all we can to not make them enjoy the night.
You had three very unique components to this relationship. You had Bill Belichick, the Northeast academic. That's where the Ivy League's at. Belichick's mom spoke 7 languages. His dad, big say in the history of scouting. So you have the grumpy Northeast academic. Very easy to play in a movie. Then you had Bob Kraft, the global visionary. Likes to get along with people, but could squish them if they got in his way. And then you had the California athlete. Joyful, fun, tends to, as this book says, be at his best, not with a chip on his shoulder, but when he's surrounded by loving and supportive people.
If anyone knows about romance in football, it's the Patriots, especially former Patriots. The first bromance that comes to mind out of Foxborough is Tom Brady and Julian Edelman. 11 seasons together and 3 Super Bowls together, trading off Super Bowl MVPs. I mean, the two were inseparable on the field and off of it. But that wasn't the only bromance for TB12. He had one with Rob Gronkowski in New England, but when Gronk retired, Brady quickly realized that he wanted that old thing back. So Gronk came out of retirement to be reunited with his one true love, not football, Tom Brady. And their bromance was reignited down in the Sunshine State.
Now with Tom going back to New England, obviously it's a different situation with 2 GOATs, but that is still a monumental moment. Where is there pressures in that game? Do you know it's a different game? Like Bill and Tom, everybody, and Bruce and everybody, they know this is different, right? And you have to, even though publicly people will say differently?
No, absolutely. Are you kidding me? 20 years in New England, Peyton 14 in Indy. They're going to say all the players speak, all the coach talk, blinders are on. I'm in the moment. I've got plenty of time to reminisce, but this is about this game. This is the biggest game because this is the next game, which is all BS. They're trying to convince themselves as much as they are Joe Public and Joe Fan. But, Peyton coming back there in 2013, undefeated Broncos team. I mean, everybody said he's done. Well, there's one person, Peyton, that said, no, I'm not done. And I've got something to prove. And I'm going back to Lucas Oil Stadium, going back to the city where I spent 14 years, where I brought a Lombardi trophy. And yeah, there's pressure. There's going to be they're saying there's no emotion. I'm going to block all that shit out. But, when we put that tribute up, to Peyton, during warm-ups, it's a 3-4 minute tribute. And you're going to try to be stoic, and this, that, and the other. You can't help but, hey, you're going to pat your heart, blow kisses, fans and all that. And that's a big deal. That's a distraction. That it's hard not to go back and say, okay, yeah, I just spent 14 years here, leading this organization, more wins than anybody else, through a 7-year span. And then we, screw with him even more. 90 minutes before kickoff, he walks in there, the window's closed, the roof's shut, right? And next thing you know is, and the roof starts opening up and the window opens up. And he's throwing those passes. He's got that big long neck and that helmet, that size 10 helmet on. Yeah. He's throwing those. And we're getting in his head. And he said, holy. And he probably thought, yeah, maybe Mr. Irsay will open it. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll do me a favor. Nope, no favors. Because, he's got one thing on his mind. Tom's got one thing on his mind. Tom won a Super Bowl last year, right? Going to another team, first year, this, that, and the other. Was it Belichick, who got Brady in the Hall of Fame? Is it Brady who's going to get Belichick eventually in the Hall of Fame? The GOAT versus the GOAT? you know this is bigger to
Yeah.
Tom than the Super Bowl. He wants to go in there and kick that man's ass just as much as Belichick wants to beat the shit out of Brady and the Buccaneers.
Alex Guerrero, Tom Brady's longtime trainer, said a main reason why TB12 left the Pats is because Bill Belichick didn't evolve as a coach. Now, one of Belichick's former assistants is firing back. Mike Lombardi said this on WEEI. I didn't understand what Alex was talking about because we spent a lot of time bringing people in to talk about how to deal with millennials and how to bridge the generational gap with Tom as he was getting older to some of the younger players on the team. And according to Lombardi, Belichick spent a lot of time in the 2015 offseason working on it.
Wickersham writes that Brady ultimately left New England not only because both Belichick and Kraft refused to commit to his stated goal of playing to 45, but because he wanted to be in an organization that welcomed his input rather than ignored him. He wanted to be heard. In 2018, a few years ago, they all met, Belichick, Brady, Kraft, trying to set aside their grievances. Brady came out and, was tired of taking team-friendly deals and then had no input on how the money was spent. That's different than the Aaron Rodgers situation where he or Russell Wilson aren't taking team-friendly deals. Brady's saying, I'm giving you guys big pay cuts. How come we don't have any good receivers? How come we don't have any good tight ends?
I'm going Bucks here. I am. I do think the Patriots can hang around with the Bucks for a little bit. The one thing about the Bucks offense, we know it's super talented, but they haven't really got the run game going. So that's going to play into the hand of New England, in my opinion. And New England's pretty big up front, so they should be able to handle the run game without having to compromise coverage. I think Belichick's going to have some curveballs for Tommy. And, you think this means, check the cover 2, and no, actually it's cover 3 this week. We changed it against you. And some wrinkles and things that he knows, hey, they're undermanned. They're going to have to take some chances here and there. So I do think they can kind of be an annoyance to this Tampa offense for some time. The concern is the other side. Can New England on offense play a clean football game? I know the Patriots defense is top notch, but New England's offense is unable to create big plays, has not been as dominant in the run game as I expected, has not pass protected all that great either, and they seem to make a few mistakes in every game.
Late September, Aspen, Colorado. Bob Kraft was there. It was a wealthy guy conference, I'm sure. And he was telling people as he left the hotel, he had bumped in to many of his friends at the hotel, and he said, I have to leave. We're playing Detroit. And he told one of the guys, I'm leaving the most brilliant people in the world. I'm getting smarter here, and I got to go hang out with the biggest blankety-blank person in my life, my head coach. Doesn't look good for Belichick. Also here, Kraft sometimes groaned to confidence that Belichick didn't show him any respect, but he was in no rush to get rid of him. I don't want to play for Bill anymore, Brady at one point said in 2017. So there's also a moment here where Eric Mangini, when he was coaching the Jets, Belichick, there was a coach's dinner for the NFL. Wives were there, and Belichick ignored Mangini's wife, and Mangini went over to Bill and said, hey, blankety blank, you confronted Bill about his grumpiness.
You mentioned Belichick, and I've heard, we know, it looks like, hey, none of this outside stuff ever affects him. He doesn't care about any of it. I mean, he is a human. How much do you think he's thought about this game, and is it going to change anything, and do you think he can do anything defensively to try to mess with Tom?
Well, if anybody can, Bill can. Obviously, Tom knows Bill inside and out, and vice versa. I heard somebody on, TV this morning call him an android. Bill's a great football coach, probably going to go down as the greatest of all time. The guy is a human being, and I think he does maybe do a little fishing, here and there, or maybe go on a date, with his girlfriend, but, because all you see is the flat line, all business. You walk in the building, you got 2 signs up: do your job, ignore the noise, and if you can't do either of those 2 things, you're out. So yeah, Bill's he's gonna devise a game plan to try to mess, with Tom, but Tom's seen it all.
Hey, what is
he's going to go to the line of scrimmage.
Hey, Chuck, what is something like that you think he would be able to know because he's at practice with Tom for 14 years? Is it like a pressure that he'll potentially bring? Is it a coverage that they'll disguise? Like, what is something you think that Bill, as this defensive coach, and you being a defensive coach, what is something you can learn from watching somebody in practice in every single step of their life? You can just pick apart everything, basically, that you don't like and put it in? Is that something you can do?
Yeah, most certainly. I mean, he knows what his Achilles heel is better than anybody else. And so he'll go back through all of his stuff and a lot of the practice stuff and the people that affected him. And he's going to have, 2 or 3 things that he knows that can mess with Tom, and whether that's, a pressure, a different personnel package, moving guys around, get that amoeba defense going on third down, get everybody walking around, whatever that is. Bill knows, what Tom's kryptonite is. He's going to know exactly, what buttons to try to push, what coverages to play, what fronts to play. But the problem is, you got a Bucs team. It's not just the quarterback, Yeah. And you got a Bucs team that's loaded with so many talents. You got to decide, okay, he knows Gronk too, but I don't give a damn how well you know Gronk. Who the frick's going to cover him? Who's going to stop him?
Yeah.
And then Godwin and Evans and Brown and the runners. I mean, their best deal against Tommy is to keep him on the bench.
Yeah.
To me, is they better get the ball out of Mac's hands, short, quick pass game, hand the ball off, chew up the clock, win the time of possession, don't turn the damn ball over, and keep him on the sideline and on the bench where he gets most frustrated.
In the end, none of this works without the vision of Kraft, the academic DNA of Belichick, and then Brady's ability to be the glue, to make it all work, to take pay cuts, to be joyful, to make guys laugh. I mean, you've never heard a single ex-Brady teammate, this is remarkable, ever criticize him. Like, every teammate likes it. Even the teammates that are difficult, Antonio Brown, even the teammates who could burn people out, Randy Moss, Tom's had a lot of people. Wes Welker broke Tom's heart when they let him go and went to Peyton Manning, Tom's rival, and Wes and Brady still get along. Like, this is why it became great. Because there's a sacrifice.
That's it for this video. I post a new Tom Brady video every day, so please like and subscribe. That way you'll always have a new Tom Brady video to watch every single day. Thanks for watching.